Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica. My name is Jessica, and on today's episode, we're talking The Gifted. Last week's episode, I did not realize that they were having an episode during Thanksgiving, so I apologize. That's why nothing was up on Tuesday and any other day, because I took a break for the holiday anyway. So I honestly had no clue there was a new episode. I thought I checked, and I didn't see anything, but I was wrong. So I saw it yesterday, and I watched it, and I gotta say, this is my favorite episode yet. Like, I really love this episode. It is, I think, the standout of the series so far, and it's not even like so much happened in the episode. It just felt like everything meshed perfectly, and it made you care more about these characters. And it made you care about two characters that you really have no affection towards, honestly. So we left off last week learning that, of course, Daddy Strucker's dad, Grandpa Strucker, worked for Trask Industries way back in the day for like 35 years, or a research facility or something like that. And now we know that Trask is involved in what's ever happening with the mutants that are sort of siding with Sentinel Services. So Daddy Strucker decides to go to Thunderbird, aka John is his name, and tell him that, hey, we should go visit my dad who lives in Nantucket, I believe, or Chattanooga. So one of those places that, like, you kind of feel like is actually a fake place, but it's actually real. Thunderbird basically just says, hey, hold on, we got to go do this thing first. We got a whole bunch of sort of stowaways that we have to go get from a church that cannot take them anymore because Sentinel Services is cracking down on the mutants people. Sympathizers is what I was trying to say. So Thunderbird, Markos, and Blink, Clarice, all go off to go get a whole bunch of these sort of stowaways, and while they're doing it, this new sort of telepathic, I believe that's it, yeah, is it? Yeah, it's telepathic, not telekinesis. Because telekinesis is where you can move things with your mind. She can just kind of read people's minds-ish in a way. She's like, hey, dude, one of these guys has got a really bad vibe. Like, you need to stop him. Ends up being one of the Sentinel Service baddies who, I mean, they really should have, like, put that tattoo with the Sentinel Service thing in a place that wasn't so easy to see. Like, give them like a tramp stamp or like, I don't know, their inner thigh or something that no one's gonna see, as opposed to just like, hey, what's that? And then seeing it and be like, busted. So this mutant spy is really cool, can move super fast, and the three of them have to work together to really do it. And I think they do a really cool job with Markos using his sort of like solar beam things to trap this mutant into one little area, and then Blink kind of using her portals so that way John could come through and just like, bam, right in the kisser and make her go like loopy. Anyway, so they decide that they're bringing all of them back, even the bad one, and they found the tracker in the backpack that they disabled, and they're just trying to figure out what's going on, like how to help this mutant. So basically, while they're trying to help the mutant or get information from the mutant or figure out what the hell's going on with Sentinel Services and the mutants, Thunderbird and Daddy Strucker decide to go find Grandpa Strucker to try to get some information about Trask Industries was. So while everything's happening at the Mutant Underground, Polaris and Markos are having like bad relationship problems, and I do like how Thunderbird addressed it at the beginning. It was like, hey, you and Polaris are fine, right? Because you guys are leaders here. Like, this can't happen where you guys are fighting like this. So I do really like how that kind of came about, and I was just like, you guys need to get your stuff together, because this is an organization to help people, and you guys can't do it if you can't help yourselves. Anyways, so they're kind of really going at it a little bit. Markos is trying to explain to himself, Polaris having none of it. Kind of annoying a little bit. I think the problem with these two characters together, like, I like the characters separate a lot. Like, I like the characters, but the show hasn't established such a strong relationship between them enough. Like, we got a lot of it when they were separated, when they're trying to get back to each other. But I want to see them build a relationship together to where when they have these fights and stuff, the audience is genuinely worried about them and like wants them to get together. Because like right now, I don't care enough about them together to like really be in this. And they need to give us some scenes about them caring about each other and understand that they have problems and blah, 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 but we need to care about this relationship. You know, I feel like it's sort of close to being the backbone of this whole thing. You know, you could say the Struckers are, but I personally think it's more the Mutant Underground and their relationship. Because that's what we worked so hard in the first couple episodes of the season, was to get them back together, and now they're just kind of tearing them apart and putting them back together, and I hope that this doesn't keep going on. So back to the crazy mutant, they figure out that she's actually withdrawing from drugs right now. So Sentinel Services has been keeping all of these mutants hooked on this mutant drug called Cake, I believe they said it was, that basically enhances their abilities, but it gets you addicted basically like crazy. Like, you don't even realize you're addicted until you are. And that made no sense. Anyway, and it's a very, very bad thing to withdraw from, apparently, is what I'm thinking from this whole show. So they bring Mama Strucker, Amy Acker, back down. Porthos, stop playing with it. I'm filming. Anyway, she kind of, I don't know if she puts adrenaline in her system, or if she puts more Cake in the system, or if she, like, has some kind of fluid that, like, helps you withdraw from things. I have no clue exactly what she's putting into this thing, into this mutant. And you see this mutant trying to speak, and she decides, because she met the telepath earlier, and she brings her down so that way they can kind of try to communicate, because the mutant can't communicate whatsoever, but she looks like she wants to, and she's dying quickly, like, very quickly. So, Porthos, sorry, my dog is annoying tonight. Anyway, basically, the telepath and the new mutant, they are kind of like speaking to each other through their minds. And, you know, they kind of tell us a story of what's going on, in the picture of the sort of doctor guy from Trask Industries and the big baddie from Sentinel Services. And also we get this really sad story of this woman who was just trying to help her sick daughter, and they weren't allowed to go into whatever physician or doctor's office would allow them because they were mutants, and Sentinel Services ended up coming and killing the father, and this mutant passes away, dies, right there on the table. And you know what? I cried. I did. I felt emotionally attached to this mutant that I just met, and I felt so sad. And it was also this sort of reaction of the characters that were around this mutant that were just like, what are they doing to our people? Like, what are they doing to this poor woman? I mean, they did a really great job of really emotionally connecting this mutant that we've never met to the story, making us feel for him, while also finding out a big plot point and figuring out how the mutants are actually being controlled. Because now they know that it's not on their own accord, it's not some kind of brainwashing in that kind of sense, it's no cyber things, it's drugs, which can be treated. I'm thinking most of them can, at least. So while that's happening, we have, of course, Daddy Strucker going to see Grandpa Strucker with Thunderbird, and this was another really well put together thing. Like, I really like when they take two characters and pair them off and they go do something. I think that really shows some dynamics between this ensemble cast, and it usually gives us a lot of character growth. This one, you kind of get the sort of, they plant the seed of the grandpa not really caring about Daddy Strucker his entire life, this idea that he was sick and never came to see him in the hospital, hasn't seen him for years. They go to Chattanooga or wherever to go to this antique store that he owns, and he meets them, and there's like some really fast bonding in this, and basically we get this whole story of how basically great grandpas and great aunt, I don't know, Strucker were evil terrorist mutants. Okay, so this is where the flashback at the beginning of the episode really ties in. So when we first start the episode, the flashback is 1950s, which is the farthest back we've ever gone, and it's these two people that are living in this London loft or something like that, and you assume that they're mutants. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on around them, and then they realize that they've been caught and the police have found them, and you're kind of like, oh, they're being hunted because they're mutants. But you don't really necessarily get this idea that they're evil until the very end of it, where they're just like, we're not leaving. They hold hands, and then you just hear a bunch of screaming from all of these police officers or old Sentinel Services or something like that. And I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, how is this going to tie in? It ties in because they're all the Struckers of old. And they have the same powers that Lauren and Andy, I finally know their names, have. And basically, Grandpa Strucker tried to rid the mutant gene out of Daddy Strucker, which is why he was sick and in the hospital when he was a kid, because, you know, the mutant gene was gone from him. So basically, something was attacking his cellular organisms, or I don't know how that works. I'm not a scientist. Because everyone in the Strucker family are mutants, every single one of them. So there's that, and I really, really like that. I think that gives a really interesting history to the Struckers that we could continue to learn from. And it gives us a chance to see if Daddy Strucker is going to actually tell the kids the history of their family, which I think would be smarter than keeping it from them, because I don't like secrets like this. I really don't. They typically annoy me in shows. Everything would be better if you just told them. I know it's dangerous, but still, you raised your kids right, you think you did, let's hope you did, and maybe they'll use their powers for good. And then while this whole thing was happening, you get 2 deaths. You get Grandpa Strucker dies, and I found that very sad, and it was very much like we didn't get enough of him, but we also got enough of him. Like, I didn't really need more of him, but still, like, I felt bad. Like, this Daddy Strucker just learned all of this stuff about his dad, Grandpa Strucker, and now he doesn't get to talk to him about any of it. He basically didn't have a dad when he was growing up, learned that he really did have one that cared a lot about him, but was just trying to protect him, and then it's a whole mess. And then the other death was the old army friend of Thunderbird, who was controlled by the Sentinel Services. He dies in this. He basically gets like blown up when, I think Grandpa Strucker had like a nuclear blast ability or something like that, or some kind of, I don't know, he could blow up things. And basically he gets blown out of the building and a whole bunch of shards are in him and he's dying. And you really, like, it really does affect you, because I personally thought he was going to be one of the mutants that they saved. Like, he was going to, you know, like, he was going to be like the driving force of saving these mutants because they knew him. And this is also one of the first time you see Thunderbird really, like, emote in a way that, you know, like, he's this really strong character who has to take care of all these people, and then he just lost his best friend again. Like, he thought he lost him the first time, but he lost him again after finding out that he was alive and needed to be helped, and he couldn't help him. And I think it's really going to affect him. I'm hoping. I want to see more of Thunderbird and really just, like, I kind of want to tear him down a little bit to build him back up. We'll see about that. So I enjoyed all 3 of the deaths in this. I think that they were earned. I think that they were powerful, and I think that they worked for the characters that we still have. And in other news, Clarice and Dreamer have sort of mended fences, not really, but like really, which I think was really smart. I don't want to see this catty fight between the 2 of them. They're working together. They have to. They're the mutant underground. You see more of Clarice kind of come out when she meets this mutant who was with the orphanage foster family that she lived with when it was attacked because of her portals when she was sick and she was having those like rage portals or whatever. And it was just a really nice moment for that. And then she decides that, you know, Dreamer can help. She can take away this memory so this kid can sleep, because she's not sleeping and she's miserable. And I think there is a mutual understanding between the 2, and I think that it works. And I'd actually like to see them become friends, because that's something that doesn't happen in love triangles too much, is when the 2, the same sex, become friends. So I'm into it. I love this episode. I can't wait to see if it keeps getting better, if it keeps getting worse. But I can't wait for tonight's episode, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another gifted recap. Very excited. Hope you guys liked this episode. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what are your thoughts on the episode and the season so far. Have you even watched it? I don't know. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I make videos Monday through Friday. I'm back on from the holidays, and I've got a lot of good stuff this week, so I'm very excited. Okay, I will see you guys later. Bye.